Hey guys, so this is what we will be building in this video. I took the login and registration form we built in the first video and I integrated with the notes functionality from the last video. So if you remember from the first video, we built this login and registration form. We can switch it by clicking on this on the right button. And if I'm looking right now on my Firebase, I have just a user just created it. It's admin@gmail.com, so I'm gonna log in. And whenever I click enter, it redirects me to the home page. Now on the home page I have my notes here. This is the functionality we built in on the last video, the second one. So here I can add new notes. I can add as many as I want, but all these notes are not being saved on Firebase. They're being saved in my local state. So if I refresh the page, they just disappear. And we also have a logout button. If I click this logout button, of course it's logging me out, and if I refresh the page, nothing happens because I'm logged out. So I'm gonna pause the video and I will set up everything I need to start coding, and you can do the same. And if you want to follow up with me, that's fine, or if not, I'm gonna leave a link to the source code in the description where you can just clone it or download from GitHub. So guys, this is what I have for now. It's just the login and the registration form, and I'm just gonna log in. If I click enter, it redirects me to the home page, and then on the home page I just have you are home and there's logout button. This is the same thing we had in the first video where we built this. Now in order for, if you want to follow me step by step, and if you want to get this specific code, just go on my GitHub, which is I'm actually gonna leave a URL in the description of this video too, but you can go under github.com/ru Victor, and then from my GitHub profile go on under repositories, and then from here choose the React-Firebase, and then you can clone it, and then check out a specific commit, the commit I'm gonna show you, or just click on the commits and go down and get the TST commit and click on this browse the repository at this point in the history. And then here are all these files. You can just open them and copy if you don't know how to check out using the git command line. Now, having this code, install npm in this repository, and then go back under my repositories and open the one which is Firebase notes. This is functionality we built in the previous video with notes functionality, where we have the add new node form component, node component, and we did all these changes in app.js. We will need all these files to, mainly in this video we'll copy all this functionality we built in the previous video and paste it in our dashboard. So let's go ahead and get started. This is my VS Code, and this is the source code I have right now. This is the repository I cloned from my GitHub, and just to make sure, yes, my node.js is running. I started my local machine. Okay, this is the dashboard. So let's open our Firebase notes repository, and if we open the app.js file, we can see that we have this is a class here, and then in this class we have our node component and then add node component. So let's go ahead and open our code. If we open our app.js file from that first video we built, we can see here that using the Firebase, we check here if this state user is not null, then we output the home. If it's null, then we output the login form. So we have a home component and then a login component, and we import them here. Now let's go ahead and open our components. So we want to work with our home component right now. Now in our components folder, let's create another folder and name it, let's say, nodes. And then in this folder, create another file, which is going to be nodes.js. Okay, and then here, now let's open our repository, and let's copy everything we have in our app.js almost. Let's do, like, for example, we have the import React. So we import React, and then we will have a class which is gonna be nodes, and this class is gonna extend component. Okay, we have component here. Now here we will have a constructor. So this is the constructor we will have in our nodes component. I'm just gonna copy it from there and paste it here just to save time, guys. Okay. Alright, then we have this like that, and then this like this. Okay, now below this we have, what was there? We have the render function. So the render function returns, there's a return function, and then we just loop through our local state and output our nodes. So we have right now two. Well, in the demo I showed that we had just one, but here let's leave two, and let's create our node component. We go under nodes, let's create another folder which is gonna be node, and then in this folder create a new file which is gonna be node.js, and this is gonna be okay, let's see, let's go under node component, let's open the node component. So we have this functional component here. I'm gonna copy everything from here and just paste it there. And we have React, import prop types. Okay, I explained all this stuff in the previous video, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'll save it, and then in our nodes I'm gonna import this node component. So we have import node from component, actually from node. Okay, and then here we'll have our render function, and then return function, and then here we have JSX. So I'm gonna go back to app.js, and I'm gonna copy everything from the return function except add node component. Okay, I'll paste it here, and I'm gonna close this div right there. Let's see. Okay, so we have this state nodes and mapping through this object and get node by node, node content, ID, key. Okay, come here, check node content, everything looks good. I'm gonna save it, and now if I go back, and I should actually log in. And then I click enter, it redirects me to the home page. So we still see this one because I didn't include the nodes in the home.js file. So I'm gonna import it here, import nodes from, so if I'm home components, let's go nodes, slash nodes like that, and then wherever we have here your home, I'm gonna replace this with the nodes component. So if I save it now, it seems like there's an error. Let's see what's the error. Fresh, it's saying attempt import nodes doesn't contain a default export. Okay, so we didn't export the nodes from here. This is what we should do now. Here we should export default nodes. Save it now and let's check our app. So we can see that we have the first node, the second node, and then we have the logout button, which means that our node component works perfectly fine. We just don't have any CSS for now, but we will add it later. And we have our constructor. Now if we go back and check our repository, there is a add new node function here in our class. This is has been we should create it too, because we're about to add our add node component. So I'm just gonna copy it from here and I will paste it below our constructor like that. And then here, wherever we have our node component, I'm gonna add another component, which is the add node component. So just copy this one from here. I'll come here and paste it there, and I will also create it now. So under our nodes folder, let's create another folder, which is gonna be add new node, and then here we will create a new file, which is gonna be add new node.js, and then in this file we will have a class. So let's go ahead and open this component from our repository. Let's go under node, let's go under add new node form file, and I am gonna copy, let's just copy everything from here and paste it in here where we have our add new node file. Let's save it, and then under our nodes, let's import it from, so we have here nodes. Here is gonna be add new node and add new node, and this is gonna be add new node here as well. Let's see if they match. Yes, they do. Okay, so we have a form here. Now if I save it, everything looks fine. Let's open our browser. So if I refresh it, we can see that there's input and there's another button which says add node. So if I type in something here, click add, we can see that a new state is being, the state is being updated, and we get a new node here. Okay, so now we should create the CSS file, and then in our nodes folder, I'm gonna close everything else. So in our nodes folder, I'll create a new file which is gonna be nodes.css, and here we will have the CSS for our nodes. And just again, guys, just to in our home, in our nodes, if you check here, we have an class name which is app. Let's name it nodes app. I will save it, and then in our add new nodes, we have all these classes. Add new node field. So I have the CSS prepared already, and I'm gonna copy and paste it here like this. So there's the new nodes app class, there's the nodes app h2. This is the title, which we should add it under our nodes. right here it should say h2 my nodes. I will save it, and then we have single node class, and then we have node field. This is the field where we add new nodes, add node button, and then I added a class for the logout button. So I'm gonna save it, and let's see what we've got right now on our page. Well, actually we don't get anything because we didn't import it. So in our nodes, let's import it. Like this. And now if we go back to our browser, we can see that we have all this styling here in place. Now let's add a placeholder here for our field. So in our add new node, wherever we have our input type tags, let's add a placeholder, which is gonna say add new node. Let's say write a new node. Okay, let's save it, go back, and we see our field in here. We can add new nodes. Now let's place this logout button here, because right now it doesn't even have a CSS class assigned to it. So let's go under home. Let's cut it from here, and let's go under, let's see, nodes, add new node, and let's place it below this button like that. And then we should also add a method here. We should add the logout functionality from our home.js file, home component. So this logout function ES6, I'm gonna cut it from here. I will save it, and then I will paste it here in our add new node class, and I'm gonna save it. And it looks like there's an error, so it's fire, just because in our home we have this import this fire configuration. So I'm gonna cut it from here because we don't need it anymore. I'll save it, and then I'll import it in our add new node component, which is fire. And then let me see how many steps we should go back. 1, 2, 3 steps. So we have 1, 2, 3. I save it like that, and then go back, and we can see we have this logout button here, but we didn't assign a class. So let's go ahead and assign this logout button class. Let's go under add new node, and here wherever we have before on click, let's say class name logout button. Okay, now it should look fine. Okay, now it looks good. So we can add new nodes, and then we can also log out. But remember, if I refresh the page, this is just the state, local state, so we don't save them on the Firebase yet. And now if I click logout, it logs me out. So if I log in again, now whenever I refresh the page, it's popping up that login form for a second, just because it doesn't that's how quick it receives the data from Firebase. So until we don't receive anything from Firebase, our app is showing the login for a second there. But that could be fixed. We'll probably fix it in the next videos. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you for your attention, and see you in the next tutorial.